It's repetition. It's volume. Like what you just like fundamentally, if we describe a behavior set within a given condition, then it's a skill that we can develop. And we develop skills through modeling, and we develop through role playing with basically seeing what other people do and then doing it ourselves. And so like, it doesn't matter what you're trying to learn. If you like, and it's just that there are some skills that people think reading, people think math, people think like public speaking, like these are all skills, but it's like, in what way does podcasting not fall into that category? In what way does having a conversation not fall into that category? Of course it does. And so I don't see it as any different. The only thing is that you want to have some sort of feedback loop so you can make it even better. But even just the fact of just like, after every podcast, if you had 5 minutes, you're like, okay, what did I do well? What can I do better? And then the next day, reviewing all the podcasts and then doing it again. Like eventually you would no longer get fatigued from it because you'd habituate. And so for that one podcast, if you only do one a month, you're probably gonna have, your adrenals will dump while you're having the podcast. You have, anxiety, your heart rate goes up, you start sweating. But if you do it all the time, then it no longer creates an adrenal response because you were just accustomed to doing it. And so, my goal is just to go through the habituation cycle as fast as humanly possible. So I just get used to it. But like, I'll do a consulting day for 12 straight hours, and I'm pretty fresh at the end. I enjoy doing it. I like doing it. If you do something where you have an extended period of time where you have effort before you have reward and it works out well, then I'm more likely to repeat that behavior in another condition. And so people are excellent at Netflix and chilling. People are excellent at delaying tasks. People are excellent at avoiding confrontation. Why? Because they've been rewarded for doing so. And the problem with it is that there's multiple different types of reward that happen over different timelines. And if this sounds complex, it's like, that's why it's a whole field of study. But basically you have latency is the biggest confounder for a causal relationship around a behavior. Meaning, Facebook can addict you because there's a little light that turns red, but it's immediate. So they will better addict people to Facebook by giving that dot immediately than saying, I'll give you $1 in 30 days. Now, the people who have been rewarded in the past for waiting over a period of time or for working would do better with the delayed reward. But most people don't have that kind of reward cycle. They've never done anything for a long period of time. And so I think the laddered up question is like, how do you get people to just try that first time where they're just willing to push out when they get rewarded for the work they're putting in? And the answer is, I don't know. I think at some point people call it chance, they read some article and they decide to actually try something for an extended period of time. But I guess I would reject the original premise of the question, which is I think many people are good at many things. They're just not good at the things they want to be good at.
Get something done. Get up and give a shit and actually try and actually care. All of your life will be instantly fixed if you start to actually care about the outcomes and blame yourself for all of these things. There's nothing you cannot do. You can have anything you have ever wanted, anytime you want, as soon as you give a shit, blame yourself, and put some work in. The only way I have ever succeeded in anything in my life is by force. It's all I know how to do. It is all I have ever done, is to look at the insurmountable task ahead of me, to look at the large, huge mountain which has never been climbed before, and one step at a time, with an iron mind which will not bend, which will not break, remaining completely unfazed, put one foot in front of the other until one day I wake up and I'm at the top of the fucking hill. There is no easy way to get anything else done ever. People ask me, how do you get rich? You do this and you work. Oh, but that won't work for me, because they are saying that so they do not have to actually do the work. That's what they're trying to do, trying to avoid the brutal realities of life. There's nowhere to hide. You cannot escape. The only thing that is guaranteed in this life besides death is constant, endless, never-ending work. Since I got to Dubai, when I've been here a week, I've been up at 9 a.m. and in meetings by 10 a.m. till 2, 3, 4 in the morning every single day.
There's a reason we were doing this emergency meeting at 2 o'clock.
It's 2 in the morning. It's almost 3 in the morning.
Still
I've
up.
been busy all day long, and I'm a billionaire and one of the most famous people on the planet, and that's how I'm working. 16, 17, 18-hour days. You're sitting around on your fucking ass, doom scrolling and jerking off to porn, and then you have the audacity to ask me why you're not where you want to be in life. Because men like me are going to take everything and not even leave you with scraps. There's not even going to be a little piece of me on the carcass because you're too busy fucking jerking off and chasing around women who are too good for you in the first fucking place. The only way you're gonna have anything in this life is to wake up and to suffer the brutal realities of endless effort and to win by force. And that is the answer to 99% of your questions. That's the answer to how you get the girls you want. That's the answers to how you get rich. It's the answer to how you get in shape. It's the answer to how you become motivated. I can be motivated to do anything because I force myself. I can blink and cure my brain and be endlessly, permanently motivated to achieve the most mundane and boring and insignificant of tasks because I have decided my mind is an absolute monarchy that I control, that I rule. If I decide to become the world's fucking best at coin flipping, I will stand there and flip a coin so repeatedly over and over again until I'll become impressive at flipping a fucking coin, if that's what I've decided to do. You can't motivate yourself to even get in the gym and have a body people admire you for. You can't motivate yourself to get up and log in and dedicate yourself so you can finally have some money. The dream is not to have a Lambo. The dream is to have a mother who isn't worried about hospital bills. The dream is to be able to travel around the world because there's a place you want to see before you die. The dream is to not have that depression on a Sunday night because you have work on a Monday morning. The dream is to have a car that works, and if it breaks down, you can afford to pay it. That is the dream. And to achieve this dream, you do not have to go and die in a ditch in Ukraine. You do not have to climb Mount Everest. You have to open up a laptop and type, and you still fail. And then you want to sit there and ask me, oh, how come I don't have the motivation? You don't have the motivation to type on a keyboard to achieve your dreams? What the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you where you cannot type on a keyboard to achieve all of your dreams? What is wrong with you where you cannot go to the gym and lift enough weights to be self-confident enough to get any woman that you desire? What is wrong with you? Do you want to lose? Are you so desperate to perma-fail? There is something wrong with you that is preventing you from being the man that you could be.
So we live in a world that we want to be as comfortable as we can. And we wonder why we have no growth. We wonder why when the smallest thing in our life gets difficult, we wonder why we cower and we run away. Because we are kind of living our whole life is set up that way. Our whole life is set up in the path of least resistance. We don't want to suffer. We don't want to feel discomfort. So the whole time we're living our lives in a very comfortable area. There's no growth in that. So for me, I realized that. The reason I became 297 pounds is because that was comfortable. What was very uncomfortable was running. What was very uncomfortable was being on a diet. What was very uncomfortable was trying to face things that I didn't want to face. And I also realized when I was really big, I had no growth. Why? Because I was living comfortable. So I realized for me to find growth, I had to face all of these different things that made me very, very uncomfortable. One thing I faced was running. I absolutely hated running. But I knew for me to grow, I had to do this thing every single day. I wanted to start callousing my mind. I wanted to start becoming a better person. And how you become a better person, how you gain mental toughness, how you become the person you want to be, is constantly facing the things that you don't want to face. If you constantly run away from things that you don't want to face, how is there growth? How is there mental toughness? I can give you a class all day long about self-talk, visualization, eat an elephant one bite at a time. But if you're never putting yourself in a situation to actually practice these things, you're never going to grow. I can't put you out there we're all going through a battle in our mind. A warrior is not a person that carries a gun. The biggest war you ever go through is right between your own ears. It's in your mind. We're all going through a war in our mind, and we have to callous our mind to fight that war and to win that war.